Donovan Marais, Channel Manager of SagePay, is joining me in studio, and today we're going to be unpacking debit order fraud in South Africa. Hello.
Hi there, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. Now, debit order fraud, it's not something you often think about. You think about credit card fraud. What's the state of debit order fraud here in South Africa?
I think it's the same as what credit card fraud is. It's actually a lot easier to commit than credit card fraud, practically because bank account details are in the public domain. Every time you fill in a form, you put your bank account details on there. Those details are available for somebody to use. The biggest mistake the consumer makes out there is they don't shred their bank statements, so they just discard them in waste disposal, and people actually pick them up off dumps, and they've got your bank account details.
Now, how can they use that to take your money?
If they've got your bank account number and your branch code with your name, they can simply go to any organization that does debit orders and request that they collect money from your account.
Well, that seems really easy.
It is very easy, yes. Yes, it is.
Why is it so easy?
I think there's been a lot of speculation lately, and there's been a lot of talks by the Payments Association of South Africa, PASA, to regulate the industry a bit better. In terms of the law, you have to have a debit order mandate, but it is virtually impossible to check every single mandate out there. So what companies are doing at this stage is they're doing spot checks, but the fraudsters are still coming away with the fraud where they actually go and they've got bank account details. They'll supply some of the mandates, but not all of them. And it happens that it does go through.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I imagine they could make fraudulent mandates as well.
Correct, yes.
Wow.
Correct.
Now, what's your experience with debit order fraud been like?
I've got about 20 years experience in this industry, so yes, I've seen it. It's been on the rise. The positive side to it is that there are things being done by the Payments Association to try and curb this, and the consumer also has a 40-day window to dispute any transaction off his bank account. So what the consumer can do, or the business owner can do, is you can go into the bank and say to the bank, I don't know who this is. The bank will then contact the vendor that actually drew the transaction, the third-party processor, and they will then ask for a mandate. And if it can't be supplied, the bank will simply reverse the transaction and stop it.
Okay, well, at least we can retrieve our money. I know the Kaspersky Lab recently released some statistics. They said 56% of South Africans weren't able to recover all money lost due to fraud during the holiday season. Is there any situation which you wouldn't be able to recover the money lost due to debit order fraud?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
As long as there's a valid mandate, the transaction is valid. But if there's not a valid mandate, then it is fraud, and the bank is legally obliged to return the transaction.